Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, depending on from where you've joined. Welcome to another webinar by Data Platform Geeks. My name is Rohit, and I will be your host for today. Today's session is on bridging the gap between SSRS and Power BI by Manohar Punna, who is an MVP from Australia, and also the Vice President of Data Platform Geeks. And I have Satya Ramesh with me, who will be helping us with the moderation of Q&A. So eDominer Systems, a lot of you already know about eDominer Systems and its popular brands. The Data Platform Geeks, Asia's largest data and analytics community. We have the Data Platform Summit under it. And then we have SQLMaestros, where we do a lot of training. There is Hands-On-Labs, the video courses, learning kits, and the master classes. Then we have Peopleware India, where we offer a lot of training, and the Expand SM ERP, our popular product of ERP. So, like I mentioned, Data Platform Summit, we had recently concluded DPS 2018 in the month of August last year. It was a 3-day conference from 9 to 11, and we had 2 days of pre-conference on 7th and 8th, with a total of 12 pre-cons at Radisson Blu, Bangalore. As you can all see, it was a phenomenal success. We had more than 1,000 participants from over 16 countries and 250 companies. On the stage, you can see Rohan Kumar, the Corporate Vice President of Microsoft Azure Data Group, and his entire Redmond team. We have already started working towards Data Platform Summit 2019. This time it will be 3 days of conference again on August 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, and 3 days of pre-conference this time on 19th, 28th, and 21st. Like usual, 7 tracks, 100 plus sessions, and 50 plus speakers. And one of the reasons why our conference is so famous among the community is that there is 100% learning and 0% marketing. You can visit www.dps10.com, our official website. If you have any queries, you can write to contact@dps10.com. So why should you really care? So first of all, it's about something that you should really care about is reskilling and upskilling. And then we have deep technical content delivered by the world's best trainers, MVPs, and Microsoft Redmond speakers, basically the product makers. And it also gives you the wonderful opportunity to network with wonderful people and personalities, and you can make connections for life. We have the world's best infrastructure at Radisson Blu in Bangalore, and DPS involves the community. So what does that mean? So our sessions, every session that you see at the conference, the 100 plus sessions and the pre-cons, we put it out for voting, and the community, that is you vote for what you want to learn, and those are the sessions that are delivered by the speakers at the summit. And last but not the least, the highly curated content and the disciplined execution. So go ahead, we have opened the pre-registration for DPS 2019. You can visit our website, dps10.com, and you can pre-register now. Pre-registration doesn't mean that you have to pay right now. It just means that you are showing interest to participate in DPS 2019. And when we launch the Data Platform Summit officially on Feb 2nd in Bangalore, we will be giving out a discount code which you can use later on to avail the discount code, discounted price. So the next step, evaluate Data Platform Summit. Pre-register. Do not forget to pre-register and visit dps10.com, where you can see all our previous sessions, all our previous year's sessions from 2015, 16, 17, and 18. So the DPG core team, we have Amit Bansal, the founder and president, and Manohar Punna, today's speaker, who is also the vice president of DPG. Avnish Panchal, Vijay Mishra, Vijay Reddy, Sandeep Pani, Prince Rastogi, Surbi Agarwal, Sakharam Shinde, Devdatta, the regional mentors from all over India. eDominer teams, these are eDominer teams from Kolkata and Bangalore. This was earlier at the summit when DPS 2018. On the stage, you can see the DPG core team and the eDominer team. Special thanks to Microsoft for supporting us in our community initiatives. So why join DPG? You all are members of DPG. So if you're not aware, you can access a lot of free content on our website, the free videos, labs, magazines, and all our previous recorded webinars, etc. So go ahead and use all of that. And we have also started this new meetup model where we can organize meetups in your own organization. So just email us or sign up to become a regional mentor. There is a form, Satya will be putting it down. You can register as a regional mentor and we will get back to you. So if you have any questions beyond the webinar, you can join our Facebook, LinkedIn, and our group on Telegram. So these are the links. Satya will be putting it down now. Our YouTube channels, yes, all our webinars are recorded and we upload them as soon as the webinars get over on our YouTube channel. So in case you have any webinars that I missed out in the past, you can all check it out in our YouTube channel, youtube.com/SQLServerGeeks. And then we have a lot of free SQL videos on our SQLMaestros YouTube channel. You can check that out as well. So without any further detail, let's get started with the webinar. Manu, over to you.
Thanks, Rohit, for the intro, and that's a wonderful community there. So I'll just try and share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Manu, I can see.
All right, thanks. So let's get started with today's webinar. As Rohit has introduced, I am Manohar Punna. So today's topic is bridging the gap between SSRS and Power BI. A little bit about me. I'm a blogger, speaker, and mentor. Of course, I'm part of the core team of DataPlatformGeeks and head it as a vice president. I've written some blogs. You can explore more on dataplatformgeeks.com and also on my website at manoharpunna.com. I speak at various events, and the most important thing on this slide is my Twitter handle. So please do follow me there, and you can always get in touch with me on Twitter. Before we start today, I just want to put up this screen for a few seconds. Just want you to read through it. It basically is the definition that I picked out directly from the Microsoft site, which defines what Power BI is and what Power BI Report Server is. Two main products that I'm going to talk about today, and what is the major differences between these two products, and what you need to consider when you're making the choice whether to go with Power BI or Power BI Report Server. So according to the definition, Power BI is basically according to the definition, it majorly concentrates on projecting it as a visualization tool where you can easily connect your data sources and visualize what's important. But the very powerful aspect of Power BI is its modeling engine. The analysis services engine behind the scenes, the Vertipack engine behind the scenes that runs behind Power BI is really powerful, and that's what makes it a really big competitor in the market when compared to other visualization tools available. When it comes to Power BI Report Server, many of you have been using from last decade with reporting services. Power BI Report Server is an additional flavor where Power BI reports are brought onto your on-premises systems on the already existing reporting environment, which is nothing but your SQL Server reporting services. So let's dig more into it. I just want to run a couple of questionnaires, polls before we start. So Rohit or Satya, yeah. So if you see this poll on your screen, how many of you use Power BI Premium? I just want to get the number. I'll wait for another 5 seconds and then close this poll. Satya, can you please help me with the numbers? While you do that, can you also launch the second poll?
Okay.
How many of you use Power BI Report Server?
Yes, it's getting launched.
Okay, the second poll is getting launched. This is for my understanding to talk about which features according to different products that are available today, which provide both reporting functionality in terms of paginated reports as well as the Power BI reports, which are more interactive, and see what kinds of products you are already using. And we can close the second poll as well. And if you can share me the results, that'll be great. While Satya or Rohit shares the reports, I'll quickly get to the next part. All right, it looks like around 20% of you are using Power BI Report Server. Do you know the numbers for Power BI Premium? The numbers aren't bad. Like if you're already using Power BI Report Server, you are actually using a lot of features that are available. But if it's just the reason for using Power BI Report Server is as part of upgrading your reporting services, and if you're not using the Power BI functionality part of it, then it is not much beneficial and not much different to already existing reporting services on your environment.
Power BI Premium is 84% no and 16% yes.
All right, that is still good. So compared to the pro features, premium is a bit expensive in terms of licensing costs, but it all balances out depending on the number of users that you have and the kind of features and capacity that you need on your Power BI environment. So let's take a peek. So I will start at the end where actually you can deploy something onto your end product. So let's start with how you can deploy your Power BI reports onto your Power BI report server. So I will jump to my Azure VM here. By the way, if you want to practice this is really, really straightforward. All you need to do is go to your Azure portal. You can sign up with a free account, which starts with $200 credit, which is more than enough to practice and create your own Power BI report server. There is a template for Power BI report server on Azure. What it does is it creates your Power BI report server, your Office Online server, your SQL Server database engine, analysis services, client tools that includes Power BI Desktop, Mobile Report Builder, all those tools that you need for building the reports, and also the VMs that host your reporting services, the Power BI report server and the SQL Server. So everything is installed in this template, including the Active Directory and the Domain Services VM. So there'll be in total of 2 VMs and all the network required for these VMs, as well as the components that are needed for these VMs, including the sample databases and sample reports. So that is a good starting point when you want to understand and learn how Power BI report server works. You don't need licenses for this because it deploys a development version. So that gives you the flexibility of starting your learning steps with Power BI report server. So I have got my Power BI report server VM already running, so I'll go in there. All of you are familiar with this screen when you log into your when you log into your reporting services. Since from 2016, this is pretty much what you get when you log into your report server. The new thing that you observe is it's now named as Power BI report server, of course, because it's got Power BI plugged into it. You know KPIs and mobile reports and paginated reports, but the new things that are added is Power BI reports section, which you can see here. And how do you deploy these Power BI reports to your Power BI service, Power BI report server? When you create your Power BI reports, it is saved as a PBIX file, right? There is a different version of Power BI Desktop that you need to use. There's a special version of Power BI Desktop that you use to build your reports for Power BI report server. And once you build those reports, you actually click on upload and select your PBIX file to upload to your report server, Power BI report server. It is as simple as that. It's not even like opening a Visual Studio, building your RTL file and deploying into server. You can upload RTL files directly like this as well, but it is really simple and straightforward how you can upload your Power BI reports, the PBIX files, into your Power BI report server. And once you deploy, the look and feel is similar to what you get with Power BI service. You just get a top banner that is relevant to your Power BI report server, but you see the report is exactly the same report that you get with your Power BI service. It's interactive, you can click on it, you can filter through it. All those things are available with the Power BI reports on the Power BI report server. So this is just a peek. I'll go into much more detail of what all features and differences are there between these two. But this is just a peek of what you get in Power BI report server. Let's also have a look at what you get with Power BI, how you can deploy reporting services reports onto your Power BI service. This is much more interesting and required feature because whoever has worked with Power BI would understand how difficult it is to create tabular reports inside a Power BI page, because it's a page, it's a fixed page, and you can't keep on scrolling, you can't do a lot of formatting that is flexible with reporting services, with SSRS reports. So for that reason, there is a huge requirement and there is a gap where a lot of paginated reports needs to be deployed to Power BI service. For that reason, now paginated reports is supported on Power BI service, and this is still in preview and it's only available with premium. So you need to have Power BI premium to get this working. There is an alternative option where you can use Power BI embedded, but this licensing does not allow you to publish those reports. This licensing is basically for embedded reports. And you need to go with A-SKUs, and the level that you get this feature available is at A4 SKU, which is a lot more expensive than Power BI Premium. With Power BI Premium, it's roughly around $5,000 per month with the starting machine that you can, starting capacity that you can reserve. But with A4 SKUs, it's about $8,000 per month when it comes to embedded licensing. So I've just created this Power BI embedded resource in my portal. So this is where you create this resource, and you can link it to your tenant, your Power BI tenancy. So in the capacity settings, I get to see my PBI that is the capacity that I have created. And when I click on it, it will allow me to set the preview features, like turn the permissions on. So you can see workloads, AI is in preview, data flows is in preview, but our main concentration today is paginated reports, which is still in preview. So I have enabled that, and I've said that out of my whole capacity that is allocated for Power BI embedded, use 20% of that memory for paginated reports. So I can balance out what performance effect my paginated reports would have on my other reports. So once you do this, you can then create workspace specifically in the premium capacity, and it is similar to what you do with Power BI report server. In your Power BI service, you can say get files, and when you click on get files, all you need to do is choose the RDL file that you have created and upload it. So for this demo purpose, what I did was create a reporting services project, connect to my local dataset on this machine, and just ran a simple query. It's not even pulling data from the SQL server. It's just a dynamic query which has got some dump values in there. And I have just created a simple table visual here. There are some limitations, like it should be an connection. It should not be a shared data set or shared data source. It should be embedded in the report. So because it's an RDL file and it should contain all the details that it needs. And because it's connecting to my local SQL server here on the machine, it is actually using a gateway, Power BI gateway that's installed on this machine. So it's connecting to my local instance, and this is a query it is running to fetch the data. So once I upload that report, not this, and what it does, it asks to connect to the gateway to make the connection, and I have already created a data source 1 which connects through the gateway to my SQL server. And when I click on the report, you can see this is actually an SSRS report that I'm opening in my Power BI service. So you can create all the paginated reports that you used to do with your SSRS, now deploy it to Power BI service. There are some limitations, of course, and we will go through them. It's a bit slow on loading. Come on. All right. So there it loads. All right, so that's my SSRS report. And if I had parameters, I could have filtered down my report past the parameters, and those are the expand things that I've got in my SSRS report. That is the limited functionality that you get with your SSRS reports, and I've added that in my report, right? So this is just a sneak peek how you can deploy your report SSRS reports into Power BI service. All right, so all right, so we have seen a couple of reports, one with Power BI reports deployed to Power BI report server, and SSRS reports deployed to Power BI service under premium tier. So the first important question that everyone asks when these kind of features are released, which are premium and niche and really required for a specific business use case, and is it worth using that? So when it comes to licensing, paginated reports on Power BI is still in preview, but it's only available with Power BI Premium. We are not sure if this is going to change because it's still in preview, so it's hard to comment on anything around licensing. But at this point of time, it's available with Power BI Premium, and you also have a workaround with ASQs for embedded, but it should only be used for embedding, and it's a bit costlier when it's compared to premium. When it comes to Power BI report server, you can actually install it on your on-premises systems or on Azure with hybrid licensing when you have SQL Server Enterprise with software assurance licensing. So that covers, so you should have enough licenses to cover the number of cores on which you're going to install on the machine where you're going to install Power BI report server. You can also deploy Power BI report server on premises if you have got Power BI Premium. So when you buy the premium capacity, you get it based on the number of cores. If you are buying the basic machine that you get is with 4 cores. So you can, when you have Power BI Premium, you can actually deploy a Power BI report server on premises on a 4-core machine that is already covered with your Power BI Premium licensing. All right, so I will start with features that are different when it comes to Power BI report server versus Power BI service. There are majorly 3 different components with Power BI. The Power BI desktop, which is your development playground and the free version that you can call. And you have got Power BI service, which is basically the powerbi.com, where you deploy where you publish your reports, and then you need pro license for sharing and collaboration, and there's a lot of other things that you can do with Power BI service. And at the end, there is the third flavor, which is embedding and mostly using it online with mostly for sharing. How it's the part of sharing. It's a sharing part of your reports that are published. And also the fourth thing is now with Power BI report server, where you can actually have Power BI reports on your report server. So let's start with Power BI desktop. So the first major difference is the way the data sources are added to Power BI Desktop. So as I've said, there are two versions of Power BI Desktop. There are more than two actually, but one is mainly concentrated on Power BI Service, which gets released every month. And that has got two versions actually. One is where you can download and install as a standalone Power BI Desktop app. The other one is if you're on Windows 10, you have a Power BI Desktop app which you can download from uh, Microsoft Store. And once you download the Microsoft Store app, it keeps on updating itself. So you don't have to download every month and update. It always gets updated through Windows updates. So those are the two versions that are related to the Power BI service and on the fast track release. The second one is the Power BI Desktop, which is optimized for report server. This is released with the Power BI report server. So whenever a Power BI report server version is released, that's when you get a new version of Power BI Desktop, which is optimized for report server. And because it's released with Power BI report server, it is not as frequent. It is not released monthly, and it doesn't have all the features that your default Power BI Desktop file has. What does this mean? This means that when you build a report, you need to choose what will be your destination. If your Power BI report is going to land in a Power BI report server, you need to use the desktop version, which is optimized for Power BI report server. If you build the report at the latest version, you can't deploy it to an older version of service, right? Similar to what you get with databases. When you upgrade your database, you can't backport your database to an older version. So similarly, when you build a Power BI report, you need to use the appropriate Power BI desktop version. The second thing that is not available with Power BI Desktop, which is optimized for report server, is Q&A. So the insights that you get with Power BI Desktop, regular Power BI Desktop, has intelligence built into it where it can run some algorithms on your data, and when you ask a question, it can understand your natural language. It has natural language processing engine behind it, so you can understand your questions and reply your answers with the data that it has. So that functionality is not ported to the Power BI Desktop, which is optimized for report server. And also, because you're not going to publish it to Power BI service, there is no option to publish. So those are the two differences that you observe majorly on the Power BI Desktop. The other thing which is not so blocking feature, but the S3 ArcGIS maps. So ArcGIS is a third-party provider who has a visual that is ships with Power BI Desktop. So it has got a lot of infographics and geographical data that comes with it, and also a lot of demographics. And mostly this has a lot of data that is relevant to US and all over the world as well. So it has data like, what is the population spread across different states, what is the density of population, those kind of things. So that visual is not ported again to the Power BI Desktop, which comes with Power BI report server. The reason is licensing, and the other reason is how could they connect to that data? Because it's an online service, you need to be connected to get that data. So there are two different reasons for which they are not ported to the local version, the on-premises version. Data insights. I'm not sure if any of you have used this feature, but this is one of the powerful features that you can use when you start with building reports on an unknown data set. So when you have a data set which you don't know what the data is inside it, you can run data insights on that data, and Power BI comes up with different visualizations based on the understanding from the data that is available. So for that to happen, you can click on a visual. You can say analyze and say, if there is an increase, it detects that there is an increase from the previous year. It understands the time, the x-axis is a timeline because you have marked it as a date field, and it says explain the increase, and it compares uh, different values in that table and the related tables, and sees and explains and comes with different visuals explaining why that increase was there and what could be the reasons that increase was there. It also comes up with various stupid reasons, like sometimes there is no correlation between the data. It says the language uh, of that particular model name is changed based on that model name, but that is not a comparable feature. The language is not a comparable feature when you're selling things like uh, bikes. So but a model is an important very model number, or that could be an important effect. So based on the suggestions that it comes back with, you can choose a visual and directly incorporate it into your reports. So that is one powerful thing that comes with Power BI Desktop that is not available with Power BI. Um, uh, Power BI that is optimized for report server. The reason being, there is no data insights available in Power BI Desktop for report server. Uh, at this point, we don't know if it's going to be ported at any time in the future, but as we speak, there are a lot of changes that are happening and uh, coming to Power BI Desktop with report server. The whole reason is basically they are trying to bridge the gap. They want to see what will be they want to cut down the differences between those two, so that there'll be little differences, so that you can choose whatever environment you want. And when a feature is released to Power BI Desktop, or for that matter any feature with any product, it first comes as a preview feature. And whenever a new version is released, these preview features keep on adding, and some of them go into GA, some of them don't make it. Because Power BI Desktop optimized for report server is not released so frequently, and only standard tested products go into it, features go into it. So there is no preview features available with Power BI Desktop for report server. So whatever features are available, you can use all of them, and anything that changes, anything that is in preview, is not ported to Power BI report server. Power BI Desktop optimized for report server. So currently Python, I haven't checked the January release, but till December release, I'm sure Python is still in preview, and M-Intelligence support for PDF files. These are some features which are still in preview. So those are pretty much main differences main differences between Power BI Desktop and Power BI Desktop optimized for report server. It's a mouthful. Power BI Desktop optimized for report server. Alrighty. So when it comes to Power BI service, again, there are some features which are mostly related to what can be done online when what can be done within restricted environments. So analyze in Excel is a powerful feature again, where traditional BIs or traditional users are used to connect into a data source in Excel, and they have a lot of expertise in working with Excel sheets. So once you prepare your data, once you have done your modeling and your data is ready, once you publish to Power BI service, it doesn't mean that the end user should use that only with Power BI reports that you build. The whole point of having Power BI is basically getting the end users to build their own reports and build interactive reports. So why restrict them to using only or learning a new tool altogether like Power BI Power BI reports. So this was one thoughtful feature that was released to Power BI service, where once the data set is published, they can connect to the data set using an Excel and build their own reports, right? So they can't change the data set, the modeling and all the transformations and everything is prepared by the data engineers. And once the data set is ready, they can build their own visualization on that, whether it's tabular reports, whatever it is, they can do it using different tools. So Excel is one of them. So analyze in Excel is a powerful feature that comes in Power BI service. Right now, when you publish a report to reporting services, SSRS reports, they can't analyze that report because it's not a data set, it's a whole report that you're publishing to your Power BI report server. It's a PBIX file that you're publishing. So the data set is not exposed in the SSRS in the Power BI report server. The alternative to that is decoupling your data sets from your Power BI desktop. How do you do that? You start using analysis services. And this is the traditional way of building reports. What you do is you build your data warehouse, or you have your ETL, ELT operations that build your warehouse. And on top of it, you build your semantic model inside your analysis services cubes. And once you have this analysis services cubes, you can use Excel to connect to that analysis services cube and build your own reports or analyze the data. Power BI report server, the Power BI files, the PBIX files, can connect directly to the analysis services, either in direct query mode or import mode, right? So that's a workaround, but as I've said, you need to use analysis services to be able to provide that flexibility to the end users. The second important feature that is mostly used and most powerful is the dashboards. So I have explained this in the past in various other sessions related to Power BI. One important thing to understand when you're introducing or explaining Power BI to the end users is the main difference between Power BI reports and dashboards. Dashboards are not your Power BI reports. Dashboards are something that you look at, which gives you an overview, which gives you a state of how things are. And once you look at that overview, and if you want to drill down or look at the report which is causing this, that's when you click on one of the visuals on the dashboard, go to that report and start interacting with the report. So dashboard is not a place where you interact with the report. I know there are options to pin a live page onto dashboard that allows you to interact with the report directly on the dashboard, but avoid it as much as possible because dashboards are not meant for interactions. So the other feature that is missing, because the dashboards are not available in Power BI report server, all you have is the reports. So because Power BI report server currently allows only to publish the PBIX files, and it's all contained in that file, you can't actually pin a visual from it or to somewhere else. So there is no dashboards where you can pin those visuals. Alternatively, Power Reporting Services since 2016 has added the KPIs, so you can actually add KPI visuals that will give you a dashboard feeling, not as intuitive as Power BI service. Because the dashboards are not available, real-time streaming datasets is also not available with Power BI report server. If you think about it, there is a session that I have given in a webinar here with DataPlatformGeeks last year, and it's recorded, so you can go back and view it on the YouTube channel where the link was posted earlier, where I've talked about real-time analytics with Power BI. And there I've explained why real-time streaming datasets can be, the real-time streaming visuals can be created only on dashboards. That's because the live tiles, when you look at the data, that is kind of an overview. That is kind of giving you a state. So the live tiles actually work only on the dashboards. You can also create static tiles from the live data sets, but you can do them only in reports. So you need a dashboard to create live tiles. For the same reason, streaming data sets is currently not available with any on-premises solution. That includes Power BI Report Server. When it comes to Power BI Service, the main reason people use Power BI Service, people publish to cloud to share content and collaborate with the other users within organization or externally. So for whatever reason, it's for sharing and collaboration. So you can create app, or you can actually share the dashboard itself, or you can share the workspace with other developers who are actually building the reports. So there are three different options where you can share your reports or dashboards or data sets. When you create an app, you can say which reports and which data sets should be available in that app for the users who are accessing it through the app. At this point of time, for a single workspace, you can create only one Power BI app. That means when you publish a report, whoever has access to that app has access to who has access to all the reports in the app. So you can't control which reports are shared with which users through the apps. So last I've heard, there is some improvement coming. So we have to wait and see what changes will be made to the apps that will help control this access. But when it comes to Power BI Report Server, there's there's no feature parity that needs apps that needs to create apps. You can actually share the PBIX report with different users within your organization. With Power BI service, you can subscribe to the reports. If you see if you open Power BI service and open a report, you can see the subscribe button on the top. And once you create a subscription, you can actually manage those subscriptions. You can edit them. And if you see these three screenshots, it's similar to what you used to do in your reporting services, where you can actually subscribe to the paginated reports. And there are also data-driven subscriptions where you can schedule them and pass the parameters for that report and get the reports as emails. So it's a similar feature. But if you see the Power BI on the Power BI service, you can subscribe to only Power BI reports, not to the SSRS reports that are still in public preview. And when it comes to Power BI report server on premises, you can subscribe to paginated reports, but still you can't subscribe to PBIX reports that you are publishing to your Power BI report server. So there is that gap in both of them. So you can't subscribe to both of them on either of the products. Again, these are still in preview and keep on developing, so these may change as we speak, because there is a release pending for January. The last release of Power BI Report Server version was in August, and the next version is scheduled to be in January. We have a couple of more days. Data alerts. In Power BI service, when you create a tile on the dashboard, you can click on the ellipsis and manage alerts. This means that you can actually set a threshold for that value and say, whenever that threshold is hit, send me an email or just notify me on the Power BI site. So if you have a Power BI mobile app, it comes as a notification on your app as well. But this kind of alerting is possible with Power BI service, where this is not available currently with your Power BI report server. There is one option that where this can be scheduled in reporting services, but that's with SharePoint and Power BI Report Server. Uh, in Power BI Report Server, there's currently no feature which has the alerts feature. You can schedule something and send subscription-based emails, have filter or data-driven subscriptions that will either send or not send the email. But that's more to do with scheduling rather than hitting the threshold and sending an alert. Right. When it comes to viewing your reports, we all struggle with small and big screens and different resolutions and can't see everything or see everything too small. One thing which I really like with Power BI Service is you can actually make the report full screen, right? So that gives you more real estate to interact with your reports. Isn't that nice where you don't have a top banner, you don't waste the space, white space on the left and right, so there's a lot of real estate to play with. That full screen mode is not available with Power BI desktop. I know this is a very simple feature, but this is something which really annoys me when it comes to Power BI. So let's go and see if I've got some report that I can quickly pull. See, I've opened this report, but if you see, there's this my browser on the top, my other features on the left. Let's go to some other report, and you see there's a lot of space wasted on the left and right here. All I need to do is click on that enter full screen mode, and all the white space and the top and bottom, and see how beautiful my report is on the screen, right? So this thing is missing, right? But there is currently a workaround that you can do. So let's quickly open my local browser here, and I've connected remotely to the to my VM, the Power BI report server on the VM in Azure portal. So I don't have that expand full screen button, right? But there is currently a workaround, which is to basically hack. It's a hack. Basically, you are telling to render and remove the toolbar, right? So let's try and do that. So it's very dodgy fix that you can do. All you need to do is browse your reports. Say I'm going to open my Power BI report here. Once that loads, okay, and all I need to do is say that command is render and the toolbar is false. What it does, it basically removes that toolbar that I previously had, that top toolbar in my report server, and displays the whole report in my browser. I still have my browser toolbar at the top, but at least it gives me some flexibility with how much real estate is available to display the report. It's a very small thing, but sometimes it's really annoying when you can't see those numbers, when you can't see those small visuals that are created on your badly designed reports, I would say. All right, let's ooh. All right. And because Power BI service is a service, it's a service offering rather than an on-premise product that you install. It integrates with your Office 365, which is again a service offering for your Office AD and email, other needs, right? It's an Office package that is offered as a service. So it integrates well with your Office 365 groups. So whenever you create a workspace, what it does is basically creates an Office 365 group, and you can manage the users on your Office 365 group. There are, of course, a couple of ways of doing this. On your Power BI site, when you connect to your workspace, say I've got an example here, real-time PBI is a workspace that I've created in my Power BI service. And when I click on the ellipsis on the workspace and click on the members, it will actually take me to an Office 365 group, and I can add members here. So not only the users within Power BI service, but also admins of Office 365 can control who can be members and who can have owner access or a member access to a particular workspace. So this is one of the nice security features that comes with Power BI service, which integrates well with your Office 365 and central administration of who have access to different workspaces and different groups. We have seen what is not available in Power BI Report Server, but let's see what's available with Power BI Report Server. Of course, paginated reports. We have been using this for a decade now, and we know how important paginated reports are. They are really powerful. You can set the sizes, you can format, make the reports printer friendly. You can print them, send it as PDF, subscribe to the reports, whatnot. There's a lot of features that are available with the reporting services. So all those features come with Power BI Report Server by default. Right now, the reporting services reports are available in public preview. As I've shown you at the beginning of the session, you can publish your RDL file, which has contained data source, embedded data source, and embedded data sets. You can publish them directly to your Power BI service. The only requirement is you need to have a Power BI premium subscription to do that. And it's still in public preview, so there can be things that work now that will improve in future, that may break in future. But at this point of time, there is high flexibility of creating SSRS reports and publishing them to your Power BI service. The other important feature that is more publicized with Power BI reports is the mobile-friendly view. I wanted to show this to you on my mobile, but unfortunately I can't cast my mobile onto my surface. For some strange reason, it doesn't see it. But if you have seen my other report here, I have got a page. So this is a mobile view of a report. Right, so I was not seeing pages. So this is a mobile view of a report. So when I open this report on my mobile, this is how I see it. But if I open the same report, that's the strange problem with the browser that I'm using. But yeah, so this is the mobile view of the report that I've created, but I can actually there is somewhere I can say it to look as no, that was different. All right, I could open this report on my Power BI desktop and show you how that looks, but this is basically the US sales details. This is the report which I've created one more page here in mobile dimension. So you can do that. I can actually click on edit report and reading view and mobile layout. So on the top, when I say mobile layout, I can choose the visuals that needs to show in the mobile layout, right? So that is kind of how you change the visual to how it looks on your mobile versus how it looks on your laptop, right? But the interaction with Power BI reports on mobile is not as flexible as other mobile reports that are available. For example, in reporting services, some few years back, Microsoft acquired a company called DataGen, a product called DataGen. So DataGen is basically mobile reports. The main thing was mobile reports. So when you click on one of these mobile reports that is built in DataGen, they are more beautiful, lot interactive when compared to Power BI reports, and you can customize what's the tool tips and those kind of things. And it's much friendlier when you open on a mobile. I'm currently not opening on it on a mobile. It's still showing me like normal view. But if you actually see this on mobile, these are a lot more interactive and a lot more responsive when compared to your Power BI mobile app. So you get that functionality of using your designing your mobile reports much more user-friendly reports with Power BI report server. So that is one major advantage when you use Power BI report server using mobile reports. Row-level security. I can't stress how important row-level security is becoming nowadays when it comes to Power BI reports. When people are using Power BI service, they want to build one report and share it with 100 different types of users. And the row-level security is one important feature which determines which user gets to see what data. So what rows needs to be filtered based on the user accessing the report. So RLS can be implemented within Power BI reports. On the Power BI service, it uses, you can create roles in the Power BI desktop and publish it to Power BI service, because behind the scenes, it runs the Vertipack engine, which is nothing but a flavor of your analysis services. With SSRS reports, you can't directly implement row-level security, but when you use the SSAS as a data source in direct query mode, you can still implement row-level security. So I've got this report where I have two roles. The admin role, where I have got my local admin, LP admin, and I've got my work account, which as a manager of New South Wales, I can see only data for New South Wales. And how did I implement this? I used analysis services features, analysis services, and row-level security implemented in analysis services. Row-level security in itself is a huge topic, which I can't cover here, but I can quickly show you what I mean. So I have connected here as LobSpot admin, which is an admin account, and I can see all the data for all the data that I have, which is all the data in Australia. But if I connect to the same report using connecting using my work account, which is assigned to a New South Wales manager role, I can see data only for New South Wales. And if you see, all other values are actually restricted to only New South Wales. So that's profit of 9.03, and if you see here, that's 26.28 million. So that's a lot of difference, and that's because it's filtered down to one particular state for the user who is logged in. So that's how you can implement row-level security in Power BI report server. Again, custom visuals. So custom visuals are currently supported in Power BI report server. Although if there are any new visuals, new custom visuals that are added with the latest version or are available in preview, those will not be ported to Power BI report server. So whatever is available at the point of time when the Power BI report server version is released, those custom visuals will be supported inside your Power BI report server. As I've said, there are two versions. The only way you can differentiate which one is used for what The version which is released every month and comes with Power BI and works for Power BI service is called Power BI Desktop. And the one which is used for Power BI Report Server to build reports for Power BI Report Server is called Power BI Desktop, with the month and the year of release in the brackets. So the last version that was released was in August 2018, and that's how it is named. They don't call it Power BI Desktop optimized for report server, but when you want to download, you have to search like that: Power BI Desktop optimized for report server. When it comes to administration, with deployment, Power BI report server can be, you can host it on premises on a server like traditional reporting services, or you can create a VM on Azure and host it over there, like I have shown you at the beginning of this session. Reporting services is currently not offered as a service, like Azure SQL DB, which is a service for your database, or managed instance, which is a service for your SQL instance, Azure Analysis Services, and Azure Data Factory, which are similar to your on-premises SSAS and SSIS. Currently, there is no reporting services as a service. So you need to, if you want to host it on cloud, you need to host it on a VM. Power BI Service, of course, is a cloud offering. You don't have an on-premises version of Power BI Service. Even though you go with premium, it's you buy the capacity in cloud, but you actually don't host the capacity on premises. Source data, you can connect to cloud and on-premises data sources through gateway. As I've shown at the beginning, I have published a Power BI report, which I've published a SSRS report, which connects to on-premises data source by using Power BI Gateway. That's how even your Power BI reports work when you publish them to Power BI service. When it comes to lifecycle, Power BI report server follows a modern lifecycle policy. Power BI service follows a fully managed service lifecycle. What does that mean? Power BI service is updated every month. So it is released every month. It's on a fast track. So every month you get a new version of Power BI service as well as new version of Power BI desktop to build the reports with the latest features. When it comes to Power BI report server, it's released every 4 months. So they can't go as aggressively as Power BI service because you can't keep on updating on-premises software every month. So there is one strong reason where the feature needs to be stabilized and needs to be maintained by end users, and you need downtime to upgrade it, and development cycles are not as fast as cloud deployments. So the release cycle is currently a bit conservative, but not as bad as the other on box products. So it's released every 4 months. So the last one was in August. The next one is in Jan, and they've promised this will be the cycle going forward. I think it's January, May, and September. I need to confirm that, but it's generally these 3 months every year. You can create Power BI reports in Power BI desktop, but there are 2 different flavors. So if you want to build for Power BI report server, you need to use Power BI desktop optimized for report server. When you want to build reports for Power BI service, you need to use Power BI desktop. So if you have a developer working on both versions of reports, he needs to have both the versions installed on the machine, and needs to make sure that he's using the right tool for building the right reports. Otherwise, all the development efforts would be wasted because he used some feature which is available in the version that is used for Power BI service, which is not supported in Power BI report server. And when you have Power BI service, once you publish the data set, you can actually create the reports inside Power BI service itself. So on the Power BI portal, once you connect to the service, you can actually start creating your own report in Power BI service. So that's how end users can build their own reports once you have prepared data set. With Power BI report server, all they get is the reports that you publish to the Power BI report server. When you have on-premises data sources, you will need gateway to connect to it from Power BI service. When you have Power BI report server, you don't need a gateway to connect your on-premises data sources, as well as you don't need a gateway to connect to your cloud service, but you will need connectivity available to connect to your cloud service, whether it's a backend VNet or whatever, however you configure express route or whatever your choice is for your organization, you can use that. That brings me to the end of the presentation today. Um, and I'm not sure if I'm right on time. Yes, I'm right on time. I can take any questions at this point, and uh, when you're posting that questions, you can post in the Q&A panel that is available in the Zoom tools. Click on Q&A and type in your question. When you type in the questions, Rohit, do you have some slides?
Yes, yes, Manu. I have a few slides.
Sure.
Meanwhile, they can
Yeah.
share the questions. So I'll just share my
Sure.
screen.
All right. I'll let Rohit take over and take a couple of minutes to cover his slides. Meanwhile, you can post your questions in the Q&A panel.
Great. So thanks, Manohar, for a wonderful session. I hope everyone enjoyed that. So, like I said, mentioned earlier, if you have any questions beyond this webinar, you can connect with the community on the Facebook, LinkedIn, and the Telegram groups. And Manohar Punna, today's speaker, is also on the Telegram group as well. So he can answer your questions after this webinar. So SQLMaestros Learning Solutions, our master classes, they have started. We have recently finished the boards masterclass by Steph Locke, who's an MVP from UK. And that was wonderful. It was a wonderful masterclass. And we have another masterclass by Hamish Watson tomorrow. So if you have not registered, you can always go check that out and you can register. And we have a lot of other masterclasses on Power BI, machine learning, Python, AI, and SQL querying and performance tuning as well. Our SQL performance tuning by Amit Bansal is coming out now as a video course. So you can go ahead and register yourself. It will be released in the month of March, but you can register yourself right now to avail the 50% discount. We have the hands-on labs, which is a unique concept, and you can practice the concept step by step. And you can also, since you're members of DataPlatformGeeks, you can try out our free demos first, and then you can choose to subscribe. We have the learning kits for the instructors and for the instructor, and it's based on Amit Bansal's performance tuning masterclass again. So in case you're in need of a SQL Server health check, you can write to us. Here is the official website, SQLMaestros.com, and contact@SQLMaestros.com, where you can write to us. So like I mentioned earlier, a Data Platform Summit will be officially launched on Feb 2nd in Bangalore. So this is not just a launch, we will also have a full day learning event. It's a full day learning event, a multi-track event. We have back-to-back sessions in parallel rooms, and we will be having more than 15 sessions. And the tracks that we are focusing on are Azure, data science, business intelligence and advanced analytics, and database administration and development. So if you are in Bangalore or Hyderabad, you can always register for the events. I'm sure you all know the website, dataplatformgeeks.com/events. And on Feb 2, we will be doing the launch in Bangalore. So if you're in Bangalore, you can register and attend the event. And on Feb 9th, it will be in Hyderabad, both Saturdays, and at Microsoft offices in Bellandur and Gachibowli, respectively. We are thankful for our knowledge partners, Manipal, ProLearn, and Advance. Satya will be putting down the links if you wish to learn more about them. So go ahead and do not forget to pre-register. Like I mentioned earlier, Satya has already put down the links. So please do pre-register and attend the event and join us for the launch of Data Platform Summit and attend the full day multi-track event. So with that, that brings an end to my slides. So thanks a lot for all of your time. I hope it was all worth it. And you can all watch our recorded webinars, including this one, on our YouTube channel. And then we have the groups, which you can join and ask technical questions. And a small request, we have posted webinar pick of today's webinar, please do comment and share your experience about the webinar. Satya has put down the links, I believe. So do not forget to give us your feedback. That will help us and the speaker to improve. So thanks a lot. Manohar, I believe you can take the questions from now.
Sure, thanks, Rohit. I've got a couple of questions. So a couple from Dilip. What makes the difference of Power BI while comparing with other BI tools? It's a very widespread question. It depends on what tool you are comparing with. But I would say the most powerful features of Power BI is basically its vast availability of visuals. And integration with AI is one big difference, and also the modeling engine behind Power BI. The Vertipack engine, which is the analysis services tabular model engine, that is more powerful when compared to any other BI tool in the market. I'm not a Microsoft employee, so I can't market more. But I would say that is one thing which really impresses me when it comes to Power BI. The second question from Dilip is, how can we use JSON for reporting in Power BI? JSON, you can choose a JSON as a source in Power BI. So when you go to Power BI service or Power BI desktop, when you click on get data, you can actually see JSON as a data source. So when you just click on anywhere and then say actually go to sorry anyway get data and then or start with creating a data set or go to Power BI desktop, you can actually choose JSON as one of the data source. The next question, can we create a different source from different database in report BI server? And report BI desktop can publish report to external portal. I'm not sure of the question. If I understand correctly, if you're asking if I can choose different data sources in my Power BI report server, yes, you can choose different data sources. You can choose different connections and different data sources in your reports through Power BI in your reporting services, and then publish it. And Power BI desktop can publish reports to external portal. What do you mean by external portal? If I assume correctly, if you have an application site or your website, you want to publish reports to that site instead of Power BI service, there is an option to embed your Power BI reports or particular visuals into your application. You can try and look at embedding Power BI reports. What is the difference between Tableau and Power BI? Again, as I've said, that's a very vast question. There are some features better in Power BI. There are some features which are better in Tableau. So you can, there's a lot of documentation, official reports which compare both tools. So you can try and search for them, but it's very hard to explain in one single sentence. How to migrate from SSRS reports to Power BI reports. I've shown you one of the example here where you can create, if you have an RDL file or if you have an existing report, you can download them as RDL files and then upload it to your Power BI service. But the major difference is the limitations, like you need to have them embedded. Not all of the features of reporting services is supported in Power BI at this moment. So you need to be aware of those things when you are publishing the SSRS reports to your Power BI service. Can I join 2 different data sources? Yes, of course, you can join to multiple. There are 70 different data sources in Power BI, and of course, reporting services also, you have different connections that you can make in your reporting services. So, of course, you can. What is the licensing cost of enterprise with software assurance, which has Power BI report server included? So Power BI report server is included when you have enterprise edition with software assurance, and you need to contact your licensing vendor to know about the cost. So I'm not exactly aware of the exact figure, but you can talk to your licensing vendor. How to configure Power BI report server? Um, so to install Power BI report server, you can download it. So it is decoupled from your regular regular SQL Server engine. So when you now want to download, you can search for Power BI report server, and it will take you to the page where you can download install Power BI report server. So this is different from, yeah, you can download the trial. But as I've said, you need licenses to do it. Otherwise, you can use the Azure VM, which comes as a template, and deploy it whenever you want and remove it whenever you don't want it. That way, you can save on the costs, and you can use the trial for free for some time. But again, if you want to learn more, just use the Azure portal. Is data stored in report or in data source? It depends on what kind of connection. In this example here, the Power BI report was not storing any data because it was actually connecting to analysis services data source in direct query mode. So the data is not stored in the report, but you can also do an import, connect to a data source in import mode, in which case it will actually import the data into the report. But SSRS, of course, it's always a direct connection. There's no import option in SSRS. Power BI is compared to MS Excel. To some extent, yes. There's not as interactive and not that intuitive and beautiful as Power BI service. Excel is Excel. It has got tables. It has got some formulas that you can write. Good for end users. Not easy to work with a lot of data. Interaction is limited. Right. So that's some major difference that I can think about. That's all questions. That's fine. So you can connect with me on Twitter on @ManoSQLGeek. That's my Twitter handle. Please do connect with me, and if you have any more questions, you can ask me there. Thanks to DataPlatformGeeks for providing me this opportunity to present again. And I'll meet you all or meet you all in the future events. Thank you. Thanks for your time. Enjoy. Have a great
Thanks,
day.
Manu.